Before we begin, a few important notes. This presentation is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're experiencing significant anxiety or other mental health concerns, please consult a qualified healthcare provider who can offer guidance tailored to your specific situation. The strategies discussed here help many people, but they may not be right for everyone. If you're working with a mental health professional or taking medication, please continue following their guidance and discuss any new approaches with them first. With that said, I hope you find this information helpful. Let's begin. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Whether you're listening to learn, listening to heal, or listening because anxiety has become an unwelcome companion in your life, the time you spend listening to this will be well spent. What follows is a journey through understanding what anxiety actually is, recognizing its symptoms in your own life, and discovering the many tools available to help you manage it. Before we dive into specific strategies, let's take a moment to understand what we're dealing with. Anxiety touches nearly every human life at some point. Sometimes it whispers quietly, a restless thought before bed, a momentary worry about tomorrow. And sometimes it roars, a pounding heart before a presentation, a racing mind that refuses to rest, a tightness in your chest that seems to come from nowhere. So what exactly is anxiety? At its core, anxiety is your body's alarm system doing its job a little too enthusiastically. It's the same biological response that kept your ancestors alive when they faced genuine threats, a saber-toothed tiger, a rival tribe, a sudden storm. Your body evolved to respond to danger quickly and powerfully. The problem is that this ancient alarm system can't always tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived one. It responds to a difficult email the same way it might respond to a physical attack. When anxiety activates, you might notice several things happening in your body. Your heart might race or pound. Your breathing might become quick and shallow. You might feel tightness in your chest or a knot in your stomach. Your muscles might tense up, especially in your shoulders, neck, and jaw. You might feel restless, like you can't sit still. You might notice your palms getting sweaty or your mouth going dry. Some people feel dizzy or lightheaded. Others feel a sense of unreality, as if they're watching themselves from outside their body. You might find it hard to concentrate or focus on anything except the worry. Sleep might become difficult, either falling asleep or staying asleep. Understanding these symptoms matters for two important reasons. First, recognizing when anxiety is happening allows you to identify your triggers, the situations, thoughts, or circumstances that tend to set off your alarm system. Once you know your triggers, you have choices. Some triggers you might want to avoid if they're obvious and avoidable and not worth the distress they cause. For example, if certain news programs leave you feeling anxious and unsettled for hours afterward, you might choose to get your news from calmer sources or limit your news consumption to specific times. If crowded shopping centers trigger your anxiety and you can shop online or at quieter times, that might be a reasonable choice. There's nothing wrong with avoiding unnecessary stressors when the avoidance doesn't limit your life in significant ways. But more often, you'll discover that your triggers represent situations that aren't actually dangerous. They just feel dangerous at first glance. A trigger might be social situations, or public speaking, or uncertainty about the future, or even physical sensations that remind you of past anxiety attacks. It might be meeting new people or driving on highways, or being the center of attention, or receiving criticism, or making phone calls. These triggers might feel threatening. Your body responds as if danger is present, but they're not actually going to harm you. Learning to distinguish between real threats and false alarms is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. A real threat requires action. If a car is speeding toward you, you need to jump out of the way. A false alarm requires a different response. Recognizing that your body's alarm system has been triggered by something that isn't actually dangerous, and choosing not to treat it as an emergency. This distinction matters enormously for how you respond. When you treat false alarms as real threats, you reinforce the anxiety. You teach your brain that the trigger really was dangerous because, look, you ran away from it, you avoided it, you treated it like an emergency. But when you recognize a false alarm and respond calmly, you begin to retrain your brain. You show it that the trigger isn't actually dangerous, and over time, the alarm stops sounding so loudly. The second reason to recognize your symptoms is that awareness creates opportunity. When you notice anxiety rising in your body, you can intervene. You can use one of the many tools we'll discuss in this guide to calm your nervous system before anxiety takes over completely. Catching anxiety early is much easier than trying to calm down once you're in a full-blown panic. In this video, and the other two that focus on anxiety, we'll explore strategies for heading off anxiety before it strikes, as well as strategies for managing anxiety once it has started. We'll look at how taking care of your body through movement, nutrition, sleep, and breathing can dramatically reduce anxiety's intensity. We'll examine how your thoughts create and maintain anxiety, and how changing those thought patterns can change how you feel. And we'll explore deeper philosophical perspectives that can help you make peace with life's inherent uncertainties. Here's something important to remember throughout this journey. Anxiety serves a purpose. You don't want to eliminate it entirely. That wouldn't be possible anyway, and it wouldn't even be healthy. Anxiety alerts you to real dangers and motivates you to prepare for challenges. What you want is to manage it, to keep it at appropriate levels, and to respond to it skillfully rather than being controlled by it. The good news is that how you react to anxiety-provoking triggers is within your control, especially when you've taken steps to reduce anxiety's intensity through proper self-care of your body. Let's begin with the body, because that's where anxiety lives most immediately. When your brain senses a threat, real or imagined, your body launches into action. Adrenaline and cortisol surge through your bloodstream like emergency responders racing to the scene of an accident. Your heart speeds up, pumping blood faster to your muscles to prepare them for action. Those muscles tighten, ready to fight or run. Your digestion pauses because, after all, who needs to process lunch when danger might be nearby? Your pupils dilate to take in more light. Your senses sharpen. Your entire body mobilizes for survival. For a moment, this system is brilliant. It's protective. It's the same response that kept our ancestors safe from predators thousands of years ago. But here's the problem that creates anxiety in modern life. When this system never turns off, when it keeps firing, even though there's no real physical danger, we call it anxiety. And because there's no saber-toothed tiger to run from or fight, all that chemical energy has nowhere to go. It just circulates through your system, keeping you in a state of high alert. Understanding this biology reminds us of something crucial. Anxiety isn't weakness. It's not a character flaw or a sign that something is fundamentally wrong with you as a person. It's physiology. It's chemistry. And chemistry can be influenced, adjusted, and retrained. Think of anxiety like a car alarm that goes off every time the wind blows. The alarm itself works perfectly. It's just responding to the wrong triggers. Our job isn't to disconnect the alarm completely. We need it for real emergencies. Our job is to recalibrate it, to teach it the difference between actual danger and a strong breeze. And the good news is that we have many tools for this recalibration, starting with how we treat our physical bodies. Movement is medicine. This isn't a metaphor. It's literal biochemistry. Exercise works like a built-in prescription that you don't need a doctor to approve. And it's available to you right now, today, without any cost or special equipment. Every single time you move your body in a sustained way, something remarkable happens inside you. Endorphins rise. These are natural chemicals that make you feel good, sometimes called the body's own painkillers. At the same time, cortisol falls. That's the stress hormone we talked about earlier, the one that keeps your body in high alert mode. Your nervous system receives undeniable proof through direct physical experience that life is safe again. After all, if you were truly in danger, you wouldn't be out for a leisurely walk or moving through a yoga sequence. Your body interprets movement as evidence of safety. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Emma. She's a graphic designer who struggled with anxiety every morning before work. Her mind would race with worries, deadlines she might miss, clients who might be unhappy, presentations that might go wrong. She tried ignoring these thoughts, but that didn't work. They just got louder. She tried thinking positive thoughts, but her body wouldn't listen to reason. The worried feelings kept coming. Then Emma started something simple. She began walking each morning before work. Just 20 minutes, nothing elaborate. No fancy gym membership, no expensive equipment, no complicated routine to learn. Just putting on comfortable shoes and walking around her neighborhood while the sun came up. Within a few weeks, she noticed something surprising. The day's noise felt smaller, quieter. The worries didn't disappear completely. She was still facing the same job challenges, but they lost their grip on her. They became manageable rather than overwhelming. The physical sensations of anxiety, the tight chest, the racing heart, the knotted stomach, became less intense. She felt more like herself. Why did this work? Because movement tells your body a story that words can't. When you exercise, your body receives a message that says, "Look, we're moving freely. We're breathing deeply. We're strong. We're not in danger." Your nervous system believes actions more than thoughts. You can tell yourself 1,000 times that everything is fine, and your anxious body might not believe you. But when you move your body and demonstrate safety through action, the message gets through. There's also something deeply restorative about movement that goes beyond chemistry. When you're anxious, you often feel stuck, trapped, paralyzed. Movement breaks that pattern. It reminds you that you can do things, that your body responds to your choices, that you have agency. The simple act of putting one foot in front of the other proves that you're not helpless. Some people find that vigorous exercise works best for them. Running, cycling, swimming laps. The intensity burns off the excess adrenaline that anxiety produces, leaving them pleasantly tired rather than wound tight. Other people find that gentler movement works better. Walking, yoga, stretching, tai chi. The slow, deliberate movements help calm an overactive nervous system. Rather than revving it up further, there's no wrong answer. The right exercise is the one that leaves you feeling better than when you started. You don't have to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Yoga can work. Swimming can work. Cycling, dancing, even gardening. These aren't simply routines or hobbies. They are chemical resets. Movement is medicine, and it's available to just about everyone, regardless of fitness level or athletic ability. The key is finding something you'll actually do, not what you think you should do. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run. If you love walking outdoors, do that. If dancing in your living room sounds fun, that counts too. The best exercise for anxiety is the one you'll actually show up for, consistently, over time. 30 minutes of walking you actually do is infinitely better than an hour of intense exercise you skip. Next up is your diet. What you eat tells your brain how to feel. This might sound strange at first, but think about it. Have you ever felt jittery and nervous after drinking more coffee than you're used to? That's not just in your head. That's biology speaking. The caffeine triggered your stress response, releasing some of the same chemicals that anxiety releases. Your body interpreted the caffeine as a sign of danger and responded accordingly. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine eating foods that calm your nervous system instead of activating it. Omega-3 fatty acids, the kind found in fish like salmon or in walnuts and flax seeds, actually soothe inflammation throughout your body, including in your brain. When your brain is inflamed, it's more reactive, more likely to interpret neutral situations as threats. Reducing inflammation helps calm the alarm system. Antioxidants from colorful fruits and vegetables protect your neurons from damage. When your brain cells are healthy and well-nourished, they communicate more effectively and maintain better emotional regulation. Magnesium, found in leafy greens, nuts, and whole grains, steadies your neurotransmitters. Those are the chemical messengers that carry signals between brain cells. Many people with anxiety are deficient in magnesium, and supplementing it or eating magnesium-rich foods can noticeably reduce anxiety symptoms. Here's something even more fascinating. Your gut and your brain talk to each other constantly. Scientists call it the gut-brain axis, and it's one of the most exciting areas of mental health research today. Your stomach has so many nerve cells that some researchers call it the second brain. When you eat foods that support healthy gut bacteria, things like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, and other fermented foods, and you limit processed foods and high added sugar foods, you're actually strengthening the communication between your stomach and your mind. A healthy gut sends calming signals to your brain. An unhealthy gut can send anxious ones. Food became fuel somewhere along the way in our modern thinking. We started thinking of eating as just putting gas in the tank, as quick calories to keep us going. But food can be therapy. It can be medicine. Every meal is a chance to support your mental health or undermine it. This doesn't mean you need a perfect diet. It doesn't mean you can never have coffee, or sugar, or processed food. Perfection isn't the goal, and pursuing perfect eating can become its own source of anxiety. But it does mean paying attention. Notice how different foods make you feel, not just immediately, but in the hours afterward. Notice which meals leave you calm and steady, and which ones leave you wired or irritable. Notice whether your anxiety is worse after eating certain things, immediately, or even 12 hours later. This awareness, over time, helps you make choices that support your well-being. Next, sleep is therapy that you practice every night, or neglect every night. Even minor sleep deprivation heightens your brain's alarm system significantly. When you're tired, everything feels harder. Small problems seem bigger. Reasonable worries turn into catastrophic fears. Your emotional regulation suffers, making you more reactive and less resilient. Your brain needs sleep to process emotions and consolidate memories. During deep sleep, your brain literally cleans itself, flushing out waste products that build up during the day. It's like a maintenance crew coming in at night to clear away the debris. When you skip this cleaning cycle, those waste products accumulate. Your brain gets foggy, your emotional regulation suffers, and your anxiety increases. Sleep is also when your brain processes the emotional experiences of the day. If you've ever gone to bed worried about something and woken up with a clearer perspective, that's your sleeping brain doing its work. During REM sleep especially, your brain works through emotional experiences, integrating them and reducing their emotional charge. Without adequate sleep, emotional experiences remain raw and unprocessed, making anxiety worse. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep to function well. Teenagers need even more, 8 to 10 hours. But it's not just about quantity. Quality matters too. Sleeping in a dark, cool, quiet room helps. Keeping a consistent schedule helps. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same times each day trains your body's internal clock. Avoiding screens before bed helps because the blue light from phones and computers tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Suppressing the natural sleep hormones that help you wind down. If you struggle with sleep, there are many strategies that can help. Develop a bedtime routine that signals to your body that sleep is coming. Maybe reading, gentle stretching, or a warm bath. Keep your bedroom for sleep and intimacy only, not for work or screens. If you find yourself lying awake, worrying, get up and do something calming in another room until you feel sleepy. And be cautious with alcohol. While it might help you fall asleep initially, it disrupts sleep quality later in the night. Hydration works similarly to sleep in terms of how neglecting it affects anxiety. Dehydration and blood sugar swings can mimic anxiety symptoms almost perfectly. Your heart might race. You might feel dizzy or shaky. Your mood might plummet. Sometimes what feels like anxiety is actually your body crying out for water or stable nutrition. Keep meals regular rather than skipping breakfast or going long stretches without eating. Keep water nearby and sip throughout the day. Keep caffeine in moderation, especially later in the day. These aren't glamorous interventions. Nobody writes books about drinking water. But these basic self-care practices are powerful. They create the foundation that makes everything else work better. When anxiety surges, your breath is often the first thing to change. It gets quick and shallow, trapped high in your chest. You might barely be breathing at all without realizing it. This shallow breathing tells your brain, danger, something's wrong. Your brain responds by releasing more stress hormones, which makes you breathe faster, which tells your brain there's more danger. It's a vicious cycle that can escalate quickly. But here's something beautiful. You can interrupt this cycle instantly by changing how you breathe. Unlike most of your body's anxiety responses, breathing is under your conscious control. You can choose to breathe differently, and when you do, you send a powerful calming signal to your entire nervous system. Let's practice together right now. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale slowly through your mouth for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that again. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Notice anything. Your shoulders might have dropped a bit. Your jaw might have unclenched. That tight feeling in your chest might have loosened just slightly. Even 1 or 2 cycles of slow, deliberate breathing can begin to shift your state. This isn't imagination or wishful thinking. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you actually change your body's chemistry. Your blood pressure drops slightly. Your heart rate slows. Stress hormones decrease. The signals traveling from your body to your brain shift from emergency to safety. Each breathing cycle activates your body's rest and digest system, the opposite of fight or flight. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's your built-in relaxation response. Deep, slow breathing flips the switch from panic mode to peace mode. You're essentially telling your body, we're safe, we have time, we can slow down. The 4-4-4 pattern we just practiced is sometimes called box breathing because each phase is equal, like the sides of a square. But there are many variations. Some people prefer longer exhales, breathing in for 4 counts and out for 6 or 8. The extended exhale emphasizes the calming signal. Others prefer a simpler pattern, just slow, deep breaths without counting. Find what works for you. The key is making your breath slow, deep, and deliberate, breathing into your belly rather than your chest, letting your exhale be at least as long as your inhale. When you breathe this way, you can't stay in a panic state. Your physiology won't allow it. Progressive muscle relaxation works on similar principles. Start at your toes. Tighten those muscles as hard as you can for 5 seconds. Then release them completely. Notice the difference between tension and relaxation. Move to your calves. Tighten, then release. Move up through your legs, your stomach, your chest, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your face. Tighten and release each area, teaching your body how safety and relaxation actually feel. These techniques might seem too simple to work against something as overwhelming as anxiety. But simple doesn't mean weak. These are scientifically proven methods that work precisely because they target your biology directly. They bypass the worried thoughts and speak directly to your nervous system in a language it understands. Sometimes your body's chemistry needs more than lifestyle changes. Sometimes biology needs technical support, and there's no shame in that. Would you tell someone with diabetes not to take insulin? Would you tell someone with a broken leg not to use crutches? Of course not. Mental health is no different from physical health in this regard. Medications like selective serotonin, reuptake, inhibitors, and selective norepinephrine. Reuptake inhibitors gently adjust the levels of serotonin and norepinephrine in your brain. These are neurotransmitters that help regulate mood and anxiety. These medications don't make you a different person. They don't numb you out or turn you into a zombie, despite what you might have heard in scary stories. They build emotional stability by correcting chemical imbalances, much like glasses correct vision problems. You're still you, just able to function better. A class of drugs called beta blockers can calm racing hearts before speeches or performances. They block adrenaline's effects on your cardiovascular system, stopping that pounding heart feeling that makes anxiety worse. Many performers, public speakers, and professionals use them occasionally for high-stakes situations. Another class, benzodiazepines, can quiet sudden storms of panic. These work quickly, but are meant for short-term use because they can be habit-forming. Used briefly and wisely under medical supervision, they can provide relief when you need it most. Newer tools exist too. Transcranial magnetic stimulation uses magnetic pulses to nudge brain circuits back into balance. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real science that's helping people who haven't found relief from other treatments. The key with any medication or medical intervention is working closely with a healthcare provider who understands your specific situation. What works for one person might not work for another. Finding the right approach often takes patience and experimentation, but help is available, and seeking it is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. Every biological intervention shares the same promise. Calmer chemistry leads to clearer thought. When your body steadies, your mind follows. It's not magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's neuroscience. Think of it like tuning an instrument before a concert. Only when the strings are balanced can the melody of thought ring true. If the strings are too tight or too loose, even the most skilled musician will produce harsh sounds. You are that instrument. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, breathing, and sometimes medication. These are the tools for tuning. When you're in tune, you can play the music of your life more skillfully. That brings us to the end of part 1. You've learned that anxiety is a biological alarm system doing its job too enthusiastically. You've learned to recognize its symptoms in your body: the racing heart, the shallow breathing, the muscle tension, the digestive upset. You've discovered that caring for your body through movement, nutrition, sleep, and breathing can dramatically reduce anxiety's intensity. Exercise speaks to your nervous system in a language it understands, telling it through action that you are safe and strong. Nutrition provides the raw materials your brain needs for stable, balanced chemistry. Sleep allows your brain to clean itself, process emotions, and restore its capacity for calm. Breathing gives you a direct lever to flip from panic mode to peace mode within minutes or even seconds. And when biology needs extra support, medication can help stabilize your chemistry so that other interventions can work more effectively. These biological interventions share a common promise. When your body is well cared for, it becomes an ally rather than an enemy in managing anxiety. A well-rested, well-nourished, well-exercised body is more resilient, more balanced, and more capable of calm. But biology is only part of the story. Your body can be calm while your mind still races with worried thoughts. Look for Taking on Anxiety, Part 2, for interventions that use the power of your mind to work.